You're going to have an amazing view. The people on the right side of the aircraft looking at downtown Seattle.
How long? I've been in Seattle since like 1997. 20 years, right? 20 years.
Later on in the night, when the crowds have gone, we could talk under moonlight till dawn. We could stay to watch the sunrise, cancel all our plans. We don't need a reason why we just can't.
Isn't the Eagles the closed for vacation?
If you're busy, you can write it down that way or whatever. And then, so yes.
Wow.
Park, and then there's a work facility you try to park right behind.
Oh my god.
Next time around, we'll do lunch again, all right, buddy?
Sorry. I take mine. Okay.
Hey y'all, how's it going?
I'm
We
good.
on Snapchat, baby.
Thank you.
See how we do with kids? Put them to work.
Right. What I do.
It's like in old England.
Massive fire when they rebuilt it ended up with a series of tunnels. No, this one was, yeah, that's currently they're working on making a tunnel to, because they're going to try to replace the viaduct.
Is anybody from Tacoma today? Anybody? Tacoma? They don't usually understand the question, so it's okay.
Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh.
I was going to say. I walk towards the Frontier hardware store, and of course, hardware stores have things like gunpowder and ammunition, cartridges. So, you know, it's like a 4th of July style blow up going on right now. What is the solution to this? We have a city that doesn't work very well.
got choices. You don't choose that.
We're gonna have to fill all this area too, so if you want to keep coming.
Wow! Oh yeah. Are you okay?
Yeah, if I don't arrange it, it's gonna be broken, the whole thing. That looks so giant. Yeah, I was asking myself, what are this?
Harry Potter library.
I really hope it's not raining today, so it can make a big thing. Oh my god. Super. Look at this girl. Wow.
I was working as a waitress for this beer brand like 5 years ago. I never tried this even in Korea, yeah. Oh my gosh.
But that city is close to her ex-girlfriend's city.
Stay in this moment, never think about going. Won't you stay with me for a little while? Got myself free falling deep into your eyes. You came to me without warning, but I knew why. I wish I could stop time. Stay in this moment, never think about going. Won't you stay with me for a little while? Stay in this moment, never think about going. Won't you stay with me for a little while?
Husband slash guitarist, Mr. Gessler. My baby don't care for shows. My baby don't care for clothes. No, my baby just cares for me. No, my baby does.
I've been contemplating all my time. My thoughts make me tired just from my mind. Wonder if there's peace that I can find, instead of always being on the grind. I need a new purpose. I'm looking for so much more. Don't leave me here searching. You're just what I'm longing for. When times are getting crazy, everything seems hazy. Is there some place for safety I can go? Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away. Run away, run away, run away. It gets so loud that I can barely hear. Your words speak much louder than all my fears. Sometimes I just wanna disappear. Car steaming down the line to Birmingham. My guitar is the only friend that gives a damn. Running on the borderline, southbound on a riverboat to Baton Rouge. Hellbound like a rambler with them Cajun blues. Rolling down the waterline.
좋아요.
멋있어요?
네.
장관이네요, 장관.
와 진짜 멋있다.
자, 더 들어오실 거예요.
네?
네, 다시. 아니 여기.
Don't leave me here searching. You're just what I'm longing for. When times are getting crazy and everything seems hazy, is there some place for safety I could go?
자, 하나, 둘. 얼굴이 좀 가려져 있어. 예. 오케이. 하나, 둘, 셋. 오케이. 낚시하는 것 같아요.
와 사람 딱 많아.
저 위에 올라가 찍어도 참 근데 사람이 너무
get an order for.
Oh. That's the cheese. Oh, okay, then the pepperoni.
See, I've been thinking a million things I want to say. Now I'm looking in your eyes, but I'm wandering to your lips. See, I'm trying to keep it cool while I'm hovering for the kiss. 'Cause I've been eating like old-fashioned orange slice, sweet like daiquiri with strawberry crushed ice. Know you like a margarita with the hot spice. Love the taste of paradise. No, it's never been the right time. Like we're holding back the storyline. And I'm waiting at the end of the night, thinking of you.
진짜 엄청 크고 볼 것도 너무 많고 1시간이 있었는데 아직도 2층도 다 못 봤어요. 아닙니다. 반 고흐의 초승화도 있고 앤디 워홀의 마릴린 먼로도 있고 되게 다양한 작품이 있는 곳이.
including 4 elevator cars. Your trip to the sky deck will only take about a minute. That means your elevator is traveling at a speed of more than 24 feet per second. The tower opened its doors in 1973 and held the title of the world's tallest building for 25 years. The west antenna reaches 1,730 feet above the Chicago streets. We're now passing 850 feet and San Francisco's Transamerica Pyramid, 970 feet and the Yokohama Landmark Tower, Japan's tallest building, 1,062 feet and Paris's stunning Eiffel Tower, the Bank of China Tower in Hong Kong, 1,250 feet and the Empire State Building in New York. And now we're here, 103 stories up. Welcome to the top.
Possibly live over in the area. Well, all my family does. I don't know why. I don't know why. Like, we're the only ones that moved to Clayton House.
내가 저기를 가야 되는데 어떻게 가지? 네이비 피어를 가야 되는데 당황스럽네.
장난 아니지?
Alright guys, so in a few minutes we will begin once those doors close. I'm just making sure no one misses out on any of these artifacts.
To fall in love is easy, but that really doesn't matter, baby. No, the challenge is to keep the love and make it last forever, maybe. Should have known right from the start. I'll keep chasing you until you melt my heart.
You keep stealing his portion. Yeah, I see you. But see, that's just it. Where I would find such a thing.
Favorite ice cream. Such a shame that you play just a game. Play just a game. Play just a game. I keep chasing you. Chasing you. 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 I keep. following your footprints. I am clinging to your voice.
He gave you an extra one. Oh, there you go. Hope you have a good day.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate you. También le echas y
I think I'll get this.
cancel all our plans. We don't need a reason why we just can't.
Loving you makes the stars shine brighter. Yeah. One step closer to the halo. Yeah. We are warriors, we rule our own domain. Yeah, yeah. Keep our heads up high, pushing on like a chugging train. Loving you makes the world spin faster. Yeah. Ain't enough days in the week for us to kiss. Oh. We are explorers, we're seeking higher planes. Oh. Pulling on the reins when we find our home again. So swinging, yeah, so swinging.
It helps already in the real world.
Real world training.
When there's only 3 spots to park in, you'll get.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
It's December 2nd. The snow begins to fall. Babe, I'm getting ready. Gonna have a ball. So, babe, let's hang our stockings and put those presents beneath the tree. 'Cause, baby, it's that time of year again. Christmas is here. It's time for celebrations. The holidays have come. Gonna grab another drink, give that guy a cheeky wink. You know it's time to have some fun. We'll get the champagne flowing and toast away another year. 'Cause, baby, it's that time of year again. Christmas is here.
Christmas is coming, the snowflakes will be falling. It's the most wonderful time of year. So hang up your stockings, put the tinsel on the tree, because Christmas is coming, my dear. It's the only time of year the reindeer fly. You can see them on their sleigh ride across the sky. Gather all your family round, or go out and paint the town. It's the only time of year the whole wide world turns upside down. So baby, light a fire and we'll toast the night away, because Christmas is coming our way.
Hanging lights on the front door, it's my favorite time of year. Pull a wreath out of cardboard. It says everyone is welcome here. Grandma's frosting the cookies. She waves at neighbors as they pass. She laughs as I sing jingle bells out of a marshmallow mustache. My little daughter came running up and sat on my knee. She said, Dad, I got a question for you. I said, what's on your mind? She said, I am not sure if Christmas dreams come true. Thought about it for a minute, turned to Tony Bennett, said, love, I think I know that they do. She was asking me how, as I twirled her around, I said, Christmas brought me you.
Silent night, I only have one wish for the shooting star. Holy night, send me someone to love so I can hold their hand while we're ice skating around the trees. Central Park, kiss them under the mistletoe. Oh, I want a Christmas kind of spark. Santa Claus, do you know Cupid sent his arrow straight to my heart? What a fun in all this Christmas.
From all of us here at Saks Fifth Avenue, we wish you and yours a joyous holiday season.
Turtle doves and all my favorite things come in sets of two. So does love. Send me someone I can talk to. We'll share stories of our childhood memories of Christmas past. Just Claus. Do you know Cupid sent his arrow straight to my heart, a waterfall? In love this Christmas, Santa, that would be the greatest gift of all. Send me an extra stocking to hang next to me on the wall. Santa, send me your love for Christmas, so that would be the greatest gift of all. Send me your love for Christmas, that would be the greatest gift of Santa.